This is a photograph I took on an adventure in the mountains. The camera I used on this excursion to get the photo was this heavy SLR film camera that I got for just 10 euros. And in this video I want to show you this cheap camera and take you with me on the adventure in the mountains to demonstrate how a cheap camera like this one can be the perfect beginner camera to start your film photography journey. Let's go. This story begins on a chilly morning in the mountains.
Guten Tag. Goedemorgen.
This is Nina. She was doing her best, I think, to learn some German while here. On this weekend, Nina came to visit me all the way from Amsterdam. She is also into film photography and the mountains, so a mountain adventure to shoot some film sounded like a great idea to the both of us. By the way, she also has a YouTube channel where she posted her own vlog from the trip. I'll leave a link in the description. Photo number one, let's go. So here's the first shot of the day. I just had to capture this neat view from the beginning of our hike. The plan was to hike up this valley that currently, at the beginning of April, was still full of snow. Therefore, we were properly equipped with snowshoes and sticks to get up as far as possible.
This is how you do it. We got the digi on one side, we got the film on the other.
Exactly.
This is how we roll.
Wow, this shot has such good lighting.
My eyes are watering because we didn't bring sunglasses.
The F8, what do we say? F8 500, right? Yeah. Want to take a photo here? Yeah, no, actually, that's nice.
Oh.
Good catch, good catch. Nice, 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 nice. You look very equipped. That is great. Got it. I like this photo. The backlight is a bit rough, but the exposure is bright enough so that Nina remains visible. Did I put in the right ISO? No! Excuse the gorilla sounds. Despite the minor mistake in my night metering, the shot came out alright, luckily. Let's hope for the best.
Put the GoPro on his head. He's serious now.
YouTube mode activated. Anyway, let's talk about the camera. This is the camera I was using on this hike, the Zenit-E.
Zenit-E.
This is a Soviet camera that was produced from 1965 to 1988, and the USSR made so many of these that it is considered to be one of the most produced film cameras. The camera is really nothing special. It's quite raw in a sense. It's an absolute tank, really heavy, made of hard metal. You could literally use this as a weapon. The design is very boxy and functional in the sense that it is designed to just take photos, but not to be extra compact or to make the shooting experience as smooth as possible or anything. In fact, ergonomically, it's quite an uncomfortable camera. This lever, seriously, is the most uncomfortable lever I've ever used on a camera. And once you finish a roll of film, you don't have a little wheel to turn. Instead, the camera lets you turn this knob, which again is ergonomically questionable. Then there's the viewfinder, which only shows you about 65-ish% of the frame. And this thing here that looks like a solar panel kind of is a solar panel. It also takes in sunlight, which produces electric power, and depending on the strength of the power, the camera will tell the photographer whether the photo is correctly exposed or not. So it's a light meter. However, this technology was not very long lasting, so it doesn't work anymore. Could you stay right there? Wait with the arms that you just had it, so I can get your camera in frame. If you could lower that arm just a bit. Yes.
Don't. I don't know if I'm gonna get 2 rolls.
So all in all, this doesn't sound like a particularly good camera. However, despite its flaws, the Zenit-E has one, or actually two, main strengths. Firstly, the build quality. Thanks to its strength-oriented design and choice of durable materials, this camera has a reputation of being pretty much unbreakable.
Look how beautiful the waves of the untouched snow are.
And secondly, it's cheap. I suppose the mechanics inside the camera and the high volume production allowed for a cheap price tag, so much so that I got mine for just €10. And so an unbreakable camera that can reliably take photos, albeit not in the most enjoyable manner, that is cheap, sounds to me like a fantastic beginner camera. And that is why I wanted to put it to the test on this mountain adventure and show you what the photos from this camera look like.
That peak is so inviting. Servus!
What a photo.
Yeah, I hope that was a good shot. It's just very, very contrast.
I can't look away from those brown eyes. And if we
Any comments so far for the video on the mountains?
I'm currently being motivated by strudel. We're like 45% there to the strudel
I need
hut.
to check the map. Maybe we're over halfway now. Yeah, I think it's there and then around the corner.
Our main goal had become to get to a mountain hut that we hoped was open and could offer us some Apfelstrudel as a reward for the long way to get to it.
our time, and we may change our mind. But I can tell a good thing when a good thing comes.
That looks like such a blissful moment. Eating.
It was time for a little snack break here, where I got this shot of Nina enjoying her jam sandwich on a nice rock in the snow.
Yes! I sound like an old man.
Then, before we continue, I want to take a moment to thank the continued sponsor of my channel, Squarespace. When anyone ever asks me how or where to make a website, I always just send them to Squarespace. It is, in my opinion, such a good service that combines easy and intuitive usage with creative freedom. Over the years, they've created this incredible product that allows me to make a website intuitively without any coding knowledge, while still giving me creative freedom to play around with designs and the character of the website. I myself have been using Squarespace for 5 years now, and it's been great and seriously constantly getting better. I use my website to showcase my projects that are either completed or currently still in progress. However, you can actually use Squarespace for so much more than what I do. You can make a simple blog, but you can even make an entire online shop, site for bookings if you're a freelancer, pretty much anything. You can start off with one of the many templates and then customize the layout and design. Alternatively, you can also use their AI tool, which lets you create a website by basically describing it. But whatever you do, you get so much freedom to just change and customize everything so easily thanks to their drag and drop editing system called Fluid Engine. You can head to squarespace.com for a 14-day free trial, and then when you're ready to launch your website, you can go to squarespace.com/TeoCrawford to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for continuously supporting the channel and my work here. I really appreciate it. Alright, break is over, time to get hiking and shooting again, and let's talk about what makes this camera quite charming despite its flaws. So while the design is not exactly mastery in ergonomics, I think there are a couple things to appreciate, at least I like them. The wheel to control the shutter speed is, again, ergonomically a pretty bad design. You need to pull up this wheel and turn it to align the desired shutter speed to a little black dot. This thing is a little fiddly, however, I think it actually looks pretty cool and I love that it turns all the time. It turns when I pull the lever and snaps when I press the shutter.
Servus. Okay, I think I figured out, yeah. Oh, the house is in nice lighting now. Oh, doesn't that look idyllic? Okay, F11, 250. Oh, I hope this shot works out. I think it's a really good one.
I like this shot a lot. The little hut in the snow makes for a perfect subject in the composition that also conveys the scale of the rocks behind. I actually intended for the background to be only rocks, not sky, but the punched-in viewfinder deceived me, so there's a sliver of blue sky at the top corner. But here's a cropped version, which I think improves the photograph.
Counting steps to the back porch. Same song from the screen door. He was a score on a mountain, waiting for a sign of rain.
I think you didn't see it.
Hard pose with his head down the floor to a way of being, but he broke wide open like a bird's beak with a deep ocean made of love and pain. He was really living, yeah man, all the way with a deep ocean.
I've never in my life been in a environment where I'm surrounded by mountains on all sides.
Isn't it wonderful?
It is.
There's actually more that turns on this camera. When I pull the lever, for some reason this thing also turns. And this, by the way, is, I believe, the counter, which tells you how many shots you've taken. However, I must admit, I haven't figured out how it works or how to read it.
Just fold them back down.
Nice. I like this shot. I can't really tell you what it is that makes it work for me, but it just feels kind of right. I think the low angle helps, which adds diversity to the set of photographs from this day. The off-center position of Nina adds a bit of tension and allows for our goal, the mountain at the back, to be visible.
It's hard to compare.
Do a good traveler's pose. Wait, there we go, that's a good angle. Nice, we've got this really pretty cloud up there.
I love the cute clouds in the sky here. The composition, on the other hand, is honestly a bit bad here, with Nina slightly melting into the background instead of standing out. I think this would have been better if I had waited for her to come a little closer, so that more than just her legs have the snow as a backdrop, which makes things a bit clearer.
Where? I don't see it. Can you see the hut on your video camera?
Yes, we have found our goal. Doing a dramatic dad cam zoom.
Bright eyes on bare legs, you're like Charlie. Horse and cheap trick.
go.
So how's the image quality? Let's talk about that aspect of this camera. It's not too different from any other 35mm SLR camera. This, I think, is an important factor to understand. What makes a $100 camera better than the Zenit-E, and what makes a $1,000 camera even better than that? Well, not much. The camera is basically just a box that lets light onto your film in a controlled manner. So the quality of the photograph is much more dependent on the film that you use, the lens that channels the light onto the film, and the exposure, so the amount of light you let onto the film. The camera itself just executes your settings, but doesn't actually contribute much to the quality of the image. So what you're paying for when you buy a more expensive film camera can be all sorts of things, but it's not better image quality. It can be better materials, a better viewfinder, a more ergonomic design, better weather resilience, a easier to use design. The upgrade you get when buying a more expensive camera is mostly the usability of the camera, not the image quality, which is why I think the Zenit-E is a great beginner camera, because it might not be the easiest or the most comfortable to use, but it does what a camera needs to do, and that for a very good price.
It's like the last little steep bit, the final boss, before we get our reward.
If there's nothing there, I'm going to off myself. I'm just going to roll all the way down. It's just like infinite mountains. It continues all the way this way, look. If you pan. It's untouched.
From around here, we began to enter the final and hardest stage of the hike, but also the spot where I shot some of my favourite photos of the day.
It's getting deep here. I'm switching to the zigzag. So that's actually quite epic with the whole slope behind you.
So one more thing I should point out when it comes to my Zenit-E model, I don't know if this is just mine or if many have this issue, but while the image quality is not really any different in comparison to other cameras, there are some minor errors that can mess with your image quality, but not in terms of sharpness and such, instead it's other things. My Zenit-E might have a little shutter issue, but I'm not sure. It's just that some of my photos have something that looks like a sort of light leak, however I'm not entirely sure how this happens. So if you have any clues, do let me know. Maybe the camera isn't sealed properly and that is causing some light leaks, or the shutter is a little sticky which can lead to uneven exposures. Those are my two theories. I like this photo a lot. Even though the sky is sadly empty, it's such a vibrant blue colour that is opposed to the bottom white half of the image. So the composition has this simple yet pleasing minimalistic split of a blue half and a white half, and in the middle is Nina, demonstrating our tiny proportion to the mountain.
Same, it was really tough.
So this part got especially tough because it was the steepest ascent we were tackling so far, and the snow here became deeper and softer, which led us to often sinking into it despite wearing snowshoes. By the way, one more thing I haven't told you about yet is the lens on this camera. Obviously, the camera itself was very cheap, but with only an SLR camera, you can't really take any photos yet. The lens I used on this day was the Autor Revuenon MC 35mm f2.8, which is a solid lens that, at the time of making this video, I can find for anywhere between 25 and 50 euros. And the film I was shooting on this day is simple, good old Kodak Gold 200. this point, we almost made it. This was the last little bit, and here I got to see the hut, which made for a lovely photo.
F8, 125. Almost there.
Whoa!
Well, here it's over. Some parts were tough, but hey, we've made it. There's windows open and there's people there, so I have my hopes up.
It only took 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah. That was a long hike.
The last part was tough. This is an enormous lens. The last part was very tough because we kept on sinking.
And so now there only remains one question to be answered. Are we going to get our reward that we so desperately desire?
Reward. And look how many other people are here. Look how cute it is.
We did. We were a little late, so the hut wasn't cooking full meals anymore, but they could offer us an Apfelstrudel, and so our dream came true. It was such a good vibe up here, lots of people who also made their way through the snow to get here. The sun was warming our cheeks, and I had a few more shots left to shoot here. And that was the end of the roll. This is me winding the film back into the canister using the Zenit little knob. Then, with the sun progressively getting lower and lower, we had to begin our descent to make it back down in time before it gets dark.
So flattering, isn't it?
It was a fantastic hike, I must say. It was challenging, beautiful, we got some great shots, and we luckily got our desired reward at the top. Thank you to Nina for joining, or should I say, putting up with me in this route, and also for modelling as the subject of so many of my photos on this day. I hope you enjoyed coming along. I also hope I could effectively demonstrate how even a cheap €10 camera can be a great beginner camera for you to begin your journey into film photography. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'm happy to help. Before saying goodbye, I would like to say a massive thank you to the lovely people supporting me and my work on Patreon. Thank you so much to each one of you. If you're interested in Lightroom presets, tutorials and stuff like that, you can check out my page via the link in the description. Also, I have a print job, by the way, in case that is of interest to you, also in the description. With that said, I hope to see you again soon. Until then, goodbye.